USI Tech? Yeah.
That's what I learned there. But then I guess my neighbors when I really start. I mean, that he gave me ideas. Then my neighbors started talking. The more people talk to you about it, the more you learn about it. And you start feeling more comfortable.
So this group.
So I do have to leave it at 8 tonight again,
Sure.
so,
Yeah, yeah.
because I'm
Go.
leading a
So
conversation.
we have less people, so we'll do it quick. All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the third meeting. And today we are going to start with law of pain. Good management of bad experiences leads to great growth. What a great saying. I mean, what do you think after reading this? Good management of bad experiences leads you to the great growth. Because we all have bad experiences in our life. There is no human being who can claim that he never had any bad experience. But that bad experience is either can put you in a frustrating situation or you can learn out of that. So it's your call. I have never seen some person who walked in and said, "Hey, Faz, I got a great news, I got fired." Nobody likes a bad news. Or I said, "Oh my gosh, I'm sick and I'm feeling so high." No, I mean, everybody feels low when he is sick, kind of. These are bad experiences. But how you manage those is the key. How you react to those bad times. And that makes a huge difference between a grown person and an immature guy. So it's not that something went wrong. See, every problem introduces a person to himself. If you get a problem in your life, basically you know now yourself, can I handle or not, how strong I am, how I can react, and do I know how to react. So it gives your own identity in yourself, I mean, if you learn all that. So bad experiences are not unique to anyone. We all are. At some point we have an experience of those. So no one likes them, of course, no one. Everybody try to avoid it. We should be avoiding. So few make bad experiences as a positive experiences, but we can choose how to respond to every experience. And there are certain things which we have to keep in mind in the law of pain. The pain of inexperience. The pain of inexperience means I had never been through that. Then the pain of incompetence, that I should have seen that coming, but we didn't look at that, and now we feel like, oh, I wish I knew that. The pain of disappointment, I wish it had never happened. And the pain of conflict, human encounter doesn't always feel. And then we have the pain of change. I didn't want that to happen. And the pain of bad health, I lost what I thought I would always. And it's always a dilemma with a lot of people. They don't take care of their health, and they don't eat right, they don't exercise, or they don't sleep right, or do partying, or alcohols, and whatever the reasons are. They think they will be always same. No, it changes your body, it changes your entire life. The pain of hard decisions. You can't make everyone happy. And this is a very important thing. I mean, you know, a lot of time, I just put today on my Facebook that if you want to make everybody happy, don't be a pastor, sell ice cream. Yeah, I mean, you can't make everybody happy because if you are a leader, you're not a clown. You're not going to make everybody happy. So I just put today on my Facebook. The pain of financial loss. If I could only get that back, okay, Yeah, that can be recovered. The pain of relationship losses. Some people will grow in a different direction than I. Did you get that point? Pat, what do you think?
The pain of financial loss? you mean?
No, relationship.
Relationship.
I mean, I guess every experience, if you have a bad experience, you'll learn something different than I will from it, right?
The problem in most of the relationship issues are me,
Right.
me. We always think about me. I can do this, I will do that. You have to see how I do it. But if we start thinking how we or how you, then I'm not going to lose your relationship with me. Because then you are going to take it in a different way that I care about you. Because I am not talking about me, I'm talking about we. Or I'm talking about you. So that's a very important. So that can be recovered. That you can get rid of that pain just by get rid of your I means ego stuff.
Relationships have to be mutually beneficial. Sometimes there can be a dependency that is also a negative, even though they don't, is the battered woman who won't leave because she's fearful of being alone, but she'd rather be battered. But when they're mutually beneficial, then there's a reason to sustain them.
Of course.
And if they're not mutually beneficial, then it's a wasted effort unless you change how you interact with the relationship.
Most of the time, people get very self-centered in relationship. Even as a wife, husband, I mean, sometimes they think about, oh, I need this, I need that. You have to do for me, you have to do for me. And that's how they won't get along with each other. And then they get problems and conflicts, and it goes to other levels and all that. So you have to get out of that I thing, means me thing, or self-centered. If you are, just get rid of that. The pain of traveling. When I'm away, I feel.
Oh, sorry, the pain of not being.
Number one.
Okay, yeah, let's go. The pain of not being number one, I deserve to be there. This is again an ego issue to me. I want to be number one. What do you think, Pat? Why it's important to be number one?
I don't think you should be putting yourself on a pedestal, right? You should make the whole team number one, everyone equal.
So that number one thing comes from that, again, I want to be number one. Why should you? And even if you are number one, for example, and if you climb the Mount Everest and you are by yourself there, who you are going to celebrate with?
Right.
You're by yourself. Nobody's looking at you. So it's better to have the whole team along with you as a leader and enjoy and celebrate. The pain of traveling, when I'm away, I feel. What's your opinion on this, Alyssa?
For me, I like traveling. So.
No, but when you're...
When I'm away.
Yeah, what, like he said, I feel that I'm exhausted. Sometimes people complain. I feel having a homesickness. Sometimes I feel missing my husband or my boyfriend or whatever. But
So there's always a feeling of comfort when you come back home,
yes.
because there's been a lot of positive emotion there.
See, like I have only one issue. I travel a lot. The only thing for first a night or two to sleep on a new bed is my issue, believe me. Although
Or the
how
pillow.
yeah, because they are very comfortable, but I'm not used to it because I still like my own bed. to be, but otherwise, I mean, this is like a pain people have, especially if they are not used to traveling and all that. The pain of responsibility, obviously, they expect so much from me. It's at work, in family, wherever you are. People have a lot of expectations out of you. If you are the leader of the family or the organization or your business or wherever.
But
they
sometimes
have-
I feel like I put more responsibility on myself than others. You know, I expect more from me than other people. So.
This is again, it's a good and it's bad. taking responsibility is a good habit because you are in charge of your game while you take the responsibility. And like even if you are in sales, you are working for a company, for example, as in sales, like me. And people come there after your sale and they have some complaints. I can't say this is none of my business. Okay,
Right.
let's go to the service. Let's go there and no. I had to take the responsibility. I had to lead him. I had to guide him because I'm trying to calm them down. It's okay. It happens. It's just a machine or whatever. Sometimes it happens. But you have to take the responsibility. But that is a little bit painful at that moment. Sometimes people get really unreasonable too when they get frustrated. Sometimes they start talking stupid things. But then I calm them down and I tell them, I say, listen, life is too short for these things. Don't sweat for small stuff. Let me handle it.
Right.
And after we handle all that, they become the most loyal customer for you. It's a lifelong, your friendship now with them. And that's how it works. So responsibility is a good thing. Undue responsibility, poking your nose in someone else's field is not responsibility, by the way. For example, certain job I'm not in, it's none of my business. It's my boss's business. But I'm trying to be more responsible. So don't worry, I'll handle it. No, it's none of my business. Let him handle that. Because then you're going to mess up and you're going to go beyond your entitlement and you're going to get caught. And it happens all the time. You have seen at workplaces. People, they try to be over smart and they get caught. So responsibility is a good thing. Taking more, yes, of course it's good, but make sure you don't take yourself you don't overburden yourself with someone else's responsibility. That's a good part. So how to turn your pain into gain? Good is choose a positive life stance. Embrace and develop your creativity and embrace the value of bad experiences. Make good changes after learning from bad experiences and take responsibility for your life. So the certain question we have to ask ourselves, if we want to get rid of this pain situation in our life, regardless whichever kind of, we have to ask ourselves, I do anything and everything possible to avoid the pain at all. Do I? I know pain is inevitable, but try to ignore it or just block it out. I know everyone endures pain, so I just endure it when it comes. I don't like pain, but I try to remain positive despite it. I process the emotion of painful experiences quickly and try to find a lesson in them. I process pain, find the lesson, and make changes positively as a result. So the painful experience, how we are going to encounter those, like John did in this chapter. Number one, define the problem. You have to find what is the main problem. Understand your emotions. Articulate the lesson. Identify a desired change. Brainstorm numerous pathways and receive others' input and implement a course of action. So this is like in long term, you want to overcome on that pain, you have to go on these steps and then you can feel like you're out of almost pain.
Before you leave, I would say that I find as much pain comes from false expectations, unreasonable expectations, as from something truly going wrong. If we learn that we're on a growth path,
Yeah.
And we don't set unreasonable expectations. We expect to be bad before we can become good.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, it's a reframing of where I am and what more I need to learn, what I need to course correct and do a little bit differently. But I just think that it's very unhelpful to dwell in the drama and the negativity of what you should have expected anyway for where you're at on a growth plan.
You're right. And again, like, this is a very famous quote that sometime you win, sometime you learn, you never lose.
Yeah,
And this is also from law of pain. We go through any pain, so don't take it as a bad experience. You try to make it as a lesson for yourself, that you learned something new today. This is the way it doesn't work. Sometimes you win and sometimes you learn. So that's the best way to look at. Then again, always take the responsibility of your life while I say it. So you have to decide, are you a victim or a victor? So always try to avoid that frustration out of yourself. So you always can turn the bad things into good things and in good lessons. Any other thoughts about this law of pain? Anything you would like to add?
No, I think it's a good thing. I think it's a good way. It's like you learn from your life's lessons.
Of course.
Don't be afraid to learn.
Well, coming back to expectation, I remember during dating phase, you expect the boyfriend to do something and he didn't.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you felt the pain and you felt
Yeah.
like you're the victim, but in reality, he didn't know.
Yes.
And I just feel the pain myself, and he didn't know anything.
Of course, yeah.
So the expectation is
No, we always, like I told you, in family, same thing. If you are head of family, kids, they automatically think it's going to be done. No, I don't know what the heck you were thinking. Same thing, parents, they try to expect something from their kid. No, if you didn't tell him or her, don't expect. They never thought it that way like you were. So everything, we have a lot of over expectations with each other. At work, same thing. Boss thinks that you are going to take care of that. Boss, you didn't tell me, shut up. How do I know? Correct, sometime it happens. So that's a law of pain. So law number 9 is the law of the ladder. Character growth determines the height of your personal growth. And learn it that we are the human beings, not the human doings. You got my point? That we are the human beings, not the human doing. Ambition without guidance. So obviously, when you are looking for law of the ladder, in simplify, I can do this way. You have to think like a successful person before you become success. You have to make up your mind where you would like to be. And if you are not in your own thinking and in your mind, how you will be there. And same thing happens like people when they talk about luck. Oh, this guy hit the lottery, he's lucky. But he was not prepared for it. So what happens at the end? He loses all the money. Correct? Because he was not mentally millionaire and suddenly he became. So if whatever you do in your life for success, first you make up your mind. Way before that. You start look, and I can give you an example which you all are familiar with. Muhammad Ali. When he was practicing, what he used to say, I'm the greatest, I'm the best, I'm the greatest, I'm the best. He was not even in the ground yet. And a month prior to that, he was talking like that. So before he got into the ring, mentally he was a champion in his own mind. And 99% time, you become champion in your locker room before you get into the field. If you are not ready for championship in your mind in the locker room, you will never, ever, ever win, like Eagles did.
I was gonna say, the Eagles did not play like they were a
Yeah.
underdog. They
Of
played
course, yeah.
a positive game.
Because they just walked into the ground as a champ. Correct? Although they were underdog for a lot of people, but in their own mind, they were champs.
Yeah,
So-
actually, I saw the coach
Correct?
press conference, and he said, even though I'm soft-spoken, but in my mind, he wants to win.
That's a law of leader. Now you got this clear fact. So you become champion in your own mind before even you got into that. So that's it, law of ladder. So good changes, number one. To be a success, think like a success. The value of character. So the value of character, I want to just focus a little bit because it's most important to me. Because character is everything to me, honestly. As a successful person, as a human being, as a God-fearing person, whatever you name it, if you are religious, character is the key. And character comes from your honesty. It's not important when you do certain things right while people are watching you. The real character is when nobody is watching you and you're doing the right things. That's a character. Because people usually, like I get all the time, oh, I always talk truth. Okay, that's great. I mean, it's the best quality you should have. But you only talk truth because you are afraid of getting caught. So your act is so good, but your intentions are not that good. But here's a person who said, regardless, whether somebody is there or not, I don't care. This is the best thing to do. That's my value. This is my character. That's the character. Sometimes people don't lie because they think that they are going to get caught. Although they are doing the right thing, but with a bad intention. But if you're talking truth, regardless, that's your value, that's your character. So the character is very important in the law of ladder. If you want to be successful, you have to have a character.
It's like those people who break into the store over the
Yeah.
Super Bowl, right? And destroy the grocery store.
Yeah.
Did I see that?
That was
Yeah.
disgusting.
Yeah, that's a nonsense.
That's what I'm saying. the
Yeah, that's
character.
not character.
Yeah.
Like 99% leadership failure is because of the failure of character. You see in the politics and everywhere, even in organizations, the leadership, they fail because they don't have a character. They tell their boss something different because they're afraid of, but they do something different when it comes to. So that's the character.
It is very interesting to see all the people in the last 3 months, 6 months, and in the next year, they're getting tossed aside for character issues. I mean, whether it's abuse,
Yeah.
whether it's sexual harassment, whether it's, but I mean, all of these people, you know, Steve Wynn just had to step down as the CEO
Yeah.
of the company that he built because of character
Yeah,
issues.
of course.
All the politicians, and I think we're just scratching the surface. And
Yes.
It's good that there's gonna be a cleansing, because
Yeah.
that'll be a lesson to the young people
Of course.
that you
Yeah.
don't do that. Just
Right.
because you can
Right.
in an environment doesn't mean you should.
That's right.
So that's the value of character. Now, number 4 is rung on the character ladder, which is I will focus on being better on the inside than the outside character. And that matters. If you have to be full of character from inside rather than outside. Like I said, you're trying to fake people that I'm honest, but you are not from inside. It's not going to last so long. People are intelligent. they can see through you. If you are lying to someone, how long? You have to remember what you said. Somebody is going to get you. Like, oh, you told me this, and now you're telling me. So obviously, if you are full of character inside, automatically, outside you don't have to work for it. It will come out.
I think people where they dress too. People dress like they're rich and they have nothing.
Yeah.
They have a fancy car that they're in debt to.
Yes.
Fancy car.
Well, and it's also saying that you have to do things for the right reason.
Of course.
Even if you do the right thing, but you have malintent, if you're trying to fake it, if you're trying,
Yes. Like an old saying.
that it doesn't matter that you did the right thing. What matters is that you had a negative intent.
Of course. We really do reap what we sow. And like it's an old saying, if you sow a thought, you reap an action, correct? And if you sow an action, you reap a habit. And if you sow a habit, you reap a character. And if you sow a character, you reap a destiny. So it all starts from a negative thinking. If you started with a negative thinking, you are going nowhere. But if you have a positive, from just a thought, you get to your destiny up to that. Because it becomes your habit and your character. So we really, what we believe makes our character. So inside victories precede outside ones. Before you can do, you must be. Our inside development is totally within our control, correct? We control that. Okay, now let's go to the I will follow the golden rule. People matter. With one insignificant exception, the world is made up of others. What a great thing. What do you think? Jay, tell me, what does it mean?
I don't understand the sentence.
Yeah, with one insignificant exception,
Well, I mean, the insignificant exception is myself.
that's how. World is made up of others, so I'm not the only. I'm the only different than anybody around the world. So that's how I'm going to make the difference. Whether you like people or not, they already know.
I think one thing he said, which I liked, he said, think about what you want people to do for you,
Yeah.
and then do that for them.
Yes. No, this is again like which I do all the time in my speeches, but John said that too. And prior to John, somebody else did. I don't know exactly who's the real person who said that, like speaking, I talk about speaking is sharing and listening is caring. People don't care how much do you know, but people do know how much do you care. So of course, people can see how much do you care. So this is the most important. People can see through, really see through.
It's true, especially if you're talking to people, you can tell if someone's even listening to you,
Yeah.
if they even care what you're saying.
Yeah, because the speaking is sharing. When I'm speaking to you, what I'm doing, I'm throwing the same information which I already know. I already know. That's why I'm speaking, correct? But you're listening, you're caring, and you are learning because you're getting something new in your information or your file in your brain. That you're getting something new, some new information. You're collecting that. I'm just throwing it. So it's not worthwhile just to say the same thing which you already know versus I would like rather learn something new which I didn't know. I will only teach that what I believe. That's called passion matters. So you have to have a belief in whatever you do. Borrowed beliefs are not own beliefs. So you have to have your own beliefs. What must be about the discipline of developing our own core beliefs than passionately teaching them? People can tell the difference. If you don't believe in your product, if you are a salesperson, if you don't believe in your or whatever you're preaching, how somebody else is going to believe. You have to have inside belief in that first, before you tell people, before you teach people, before you preach people. And then they are going to listen carefully, and maybe they are going to believe you. And then maybe they are going to follow you. So if you want to become a good leader or a grown person, you have to have your own beliefs and you have to have a strong belief. I will value humility above the word all virtues, which is perspective matters. While many people don't plan to be messing up, even more don't plan not to. And remember the big picture, remember who we really are. Then you have to be teachable and recognize that everyone has weakness. With only one notable exception, all we are fallible. Having a beginner's mindset, keep one pliable and moldable to new truths. Be willing to serve others. Putting others first right sizes our ego. Be grateful. Gratitude expresses our dependence on others and our own vulnerability. We all have found our success through the help of others interested in our success. So this is all your perspective matters. These are the things which you. And next is, I will strive to finish well, which is faithfulness matter. So in life, one can never stop, the either finish or keep going. Our character is being developed until we are finished. So it's not like, oh, I just got a degree, I got this information, I got this job, so I know everything. No, your character grows up to the last breath you have till you die. You still are growing inside. So you cannot stop that growing process in your personality, in your life, or in your everything which you do. Number 5 is, the stronger your character, the greater your growth potential. And there is an old quote that he was born mud but died marble. How's that lived out? And like another quote I heard that, if you're born poor, it's not your fault. But you die poor, it's yours. So we all, when we started our life, we started in the same way. When we all are born, the first thing which we did was crying. And as we cried, everybody around us, whoever was there, smiled. But the bottom line, and the best part of your life should be, when you die, everybody else should be crying and you should be smiling. That should be end of your, if you lived a right life, if you made a difference in the world, that should be our end. And everybody else should be crying, not smiling like when we born. But we should be smiling that I did my job. Thank you. I'm done. This is my time. It's over. And here we go, God, I'm coming. And that should be our end. So when you live this law, so how to overcome those growing pains like we discussed, and any other thoughts about law of ladder, Jay?
So there's an analogy, I couldn't find it in the book.
Uh-huh.
I remember. Character is basically your values and
Yes.
you live your values.
Correct.
And I like the analogy of the higher you get in the ladder,
Of course.
the more wobbly it can be because of leverage. And the stronger the foundational values need to be to support it. So if you build on sand and you go climb a tall ladder, it's likely to fall over.
Yeah.
But if you have strong values and you're consistent in their application, then that adds stability to allow it to support higher and higher. That's what I took out of this.
What do you think, Ben?
That's what I think is probably the strongest thing is people, that's how they value your character. Like you said,
Yes.
when you die, if people say that person was someone of character, they're gonna cry for them.
Yes.
If you're a dishonest person, they'll be glad you're gone.
Yeah.
So if you wanna people to respect you, I guess.
Yeah, that's the inside character which you showed, and people felt it.
There was a story once about somebody was asked, why are you even going to this guy's funeral? Because you hated him so much? And he said, I just wanted to make sure the son of a bitch is dead.
Yeah. I mean, and again, that's the best way to look at it. Like a lot of time people say, what's your goal is? A lot of time people are not clear about their goals, correct? Am I right? Most of the people are not. I just think in that way, that today is your funeral, what you would like people to say about you. How you want to be remembered by others.
Right.
And whatever you want to be remembered for, just do that thing. Now, that's how you're going to be remembered. If you're not doing now, who's going to remember like that? So that should be your goal. Simple. So you want to be remembered like a politician, become a politician. You want to be a liar, cheater, fraud, try to do that. Everybody's going to remember that. And even they are going to remember a lot more than your honesty or anything. But you have to start practicing what you would like to be remembered for. That's your goal. How about you, Emma? Law of ladder.
I would like to add that what I also learned that no matter in what stage of life you are, try to make your base strong, and the base can be strong if your character is strong.
Of course.
So no matter what work you are doing, keep your intentions right and have faith on God. You
Yeah.
can succeed.
Of course. Alyssa?
I was just thinking like, in school you have report cards, right? Your teacher evaluate you. But once you get out of school, no one's evaluating you anymore. So you just have to evaluate yourself and, like with Pat was saying, it's how nice you are to someone else and they can remember you or how you treat them. And then
Yeah.
otherwise, there's no report cards for you anymore.
Of course, yeah. No, the values are very important. So the next law, which is law number 10, is called the law of rubber band. The law of rubber band applies to most of the professions. So let me ask you this way. Have you ever seen a rubber band? Of course you did, right? So I wish I could bring one, but I forgot. If you see the rubber band in your hand, what's the value of that? What does it do?
Just sitting in your hand.
Huh?
I mean, just sitting in your hand, it doesn't do anything. But
It
you
has
stretch
no
it.
value. The only rubber band works when it stretches.
But it stretches the right amount. If you have a rubber band this big and you're trying to capture something too small,
That's what I'm
there's
saying. You
no
have to
purpose.
stretch.
You
So
have
you
to.
have to go stretching phase, and when you stretch, then it becomes worthwhile to hold the things together. Without a stretch, it has no value. It's worthless. So my point is, life starts where the comfort zone ends. That's the life is all about. Life always starts from where the comfort zone ends. So you have to stretch yourself. You have to, like old-fashioned saying, get up to grow. People always say you have to get up to grow, and you have whatever the other one is, you have to go up to grow. So it means you have to make moves, you have to stretch yourself. Growth stops when you lose the tension between where you are and where you could be. It stops. So mediocrity is not a worthy goal. So you have to do a series of stretches in your life. You have to make changes always. Like I see in my personal story of life, I had 5 different stretches I did in my life. In 5 different phases of my life. When I grew up in a small city, in a small town, like I mentioned you, I didn't want to be a doctor, but I wanted to be a leader, but my parents pushed me. But I was a good student and I stretched myself, which I didn't want to do, but I did it. I got very good grades and got to the college level, and then I got to the medical school. Now there was another change in my life because I didn't want to be a doctor, and now I am a doctor. So I have to stretch way more than